I loved the graphics and charming aesthetic of the demo so much that I was fully committed to buying Luma Island when it released on November 20th. But then I read a number of conflicting reviews, some complaining about the grind and shallow gameplay, and others ogling over its cuteness and addicting gameplay. So I had to buy it. Yes, with my own money, and will give you my honest, unsponsored opinion of the game after playing over 18 hours. Here's the TLDR. If you like beautiful, simple games with exploring, puzzles, and resource gathering alone or with friends on PC and Steam Deck, and don't mind the grind, Luma Island will likely be your next gaming addiction. But if you crave NPC relationships and a story-rich game with authentic life sim mechanics and a bit of a survival challenge, you'll probably be bored and disappointed. Luma Island clearly isn't for everyone, so I'm going to share my top likes and dislikes in this Luma Island review to help you decide if the game is worth your time and money. We're going to begin with my top 10 favorite things about Luma Island, and these are in no particular order, and I actually had a really tough time picking just 10, but number 1 is this is a full release. I know many of us are just tired of early access games, but with Luma Island, this is a 1.0 release, and sure there are bugs that need fixed and ironed out, and there will no doubt be updates, but it's a complete game. Like it or don't like it, it's a complete game, and it's very refreshing. Number 2 is the art style. Luma Island has kind of a voxel 3D pixel art look to it. You think it's 3D, but then if you look closer, like look at these trees, you'll see them pixelate. So it's more of a voxel style, and it's just so intriguing. And not only the style of the art, but the actual subject matter, just this beautiful landscape. This is only one of the 4 biomes, and I'm sorry if you hear that bug. Hang on, let me take care of these bugs. They're really annoying. But it's just beautiful, the colors, the style of the art, the sounds. I love how you can just customize it to your heart's desire, make it as cute as you want, or don't. If that's not your jam, you don't have to do that, but it's clearly my jam. I love this part of it. You can even build your house overlooking the water, which is what we are going to do today. I've been waiting for you guys. Actually, we're going to do it right now. I've been living in this little camper over here. I also have been calling it a meth house. It just kind of looks like it. We're out in the middle of nowhere. But anyhow, we are moving to our cottage overlooking the water here. I have no idea what it's going to look like, but I've been working hard gathering my resources. I need 4 more scaffolding. Let's go ahead and create it. I need to move it, and that's the nice thing. I think if I get out my axe here, I can probably move it. Yes, we can remove our cottage. I need to place it a little bit better because this is not ideal. And then the town, let me take you to the town. The town is pretty darn massive, and this is one of my favorite parts on this little catwalk here. The archway. We've got the river running through here, a little Italian restaurant up on the cliffside. And then it looks like we have some houses or perhaps some shops down here. And I'll have to record later the nighttime view in here because the lights all turn on and just dot the entire landscape, and it is the most charming aesthetic ever. It's just such a pretty place, and I could spend the entire video just talking about the art style. Okay, yes, we have a chest here. But that's number 2. I gotta start talking faster. Let's move on. Number 3 is exploration and puzzle solving. Luma Island reminds me a lot of Zelda, because there is so much open world exploration and you have to look everywhere. You see all these nooks and crannies all around and you can't jump. Nothing happens when I press the jump button. So whenever you see something, you have to plot a way, a path to acquire it. Some of the puzzles are easy, some are a little bit tougher and make you think, but it keeps you on your toes. And I enjoy mining in the caves. There are temples to beat, Indiana Jones style. There's just so much to discover, and also creating your cozy little homestead. Number 4 are the professions. Luma Island has 7 different professions you can choose to focus on, and you can choose more than one. You start off with one, it's free, and then additional ones are going to cost you, and they are just going to add more quests for you. So I chose to be a brewer. So I have these casks here, and I have to ferment various crops that I grow into liquor. I wonder why I chose that profession. So if you like farming, then being a cook or being a brewer might be a profession suitable to you. When I played the demo, I chose to be a fisherman, and that was fun, but I wanted something a little bit different this time. There are 7 different ones that you can choose from. So these first 3 are going to be your least difficult. That's what the stars on the bottom show. Cook and brewer, you're going to have to farm for both of these. You could probably do both of these concurrently if you want a little bit of a challenge. Then there's also treasure hunter. That's what my husband and a good friend of mine picked. You get a dog for this one. And then difficulty level 2, you have blacksmithing and fisherman. I really like the fisherman because I love everything water. But if you don't like to stand there and catch fish, you're probably not going to like that. And then we also have jewelry crafter. That's also a level 2. And then archaeologist is going to be difficulty level 3. It even puts 3 skulls instead of 3 stars. So I would not recommend that one for a beginner. But that's the nice thing about these professions. If you get bored of something, get a new profession. If you want more of a challenge, get multiple professions. If you're playing with 4 people on your team, everyone can have a different profession and be doing something different, but contributing to the overall improvement of the farm. And speaking of multiplayer, that brings us to number 5. Luma Island is no doubt intended to be a multiplayer game. Don't get me wrong, it's fun solo, and I, for the most of my gameplay here, have played solo. But harvesting all of these resources is so much easier when you have friends with you. And when it comes to these temples and caves, it's much easier when you have someone with you, especially if you don't have an upgraded whip. But do note, if you join someone else's game, you will have to start a new character. Just as when they join your game, they will have to start a new character, because whoever is hosting the game, you're playing the save file that is on their machine. And this might seem like a daunting task, but I actually find it refreshing. Whatever professions you're working on in your game, when you play with someone else, pick something completely different. And it's like a fresh new experience, and it's so much more fun playing with others. The camaraderie and being able to create a farm together, everybody working together to make this possible, because this was a lot of work here. Number 6 are the Luma and farm animals. The Luma are these little creatures right here, like this little snail guy. Here, let's feed him. See if he'll eat. Oops, I did not mean to throw that there. We have 3 of them right here. I have a snail, I have a turtle, and then I have a little purple horse that totally looks like a My Little Pony. You guys probably are too young to know what My Little Pony is. But isn't she adorable? And if I look in my inventory here, you will see that you can have 1 spot for an active Luma. This is my unicorn Luma. This is a helper, and the origin is a Luma egg. So when you beat the temples, the Indiana Jones style temples, again, that's another reference that you might not get. Hopefully you know who Indiana Jones is. But you're going to put the egg along with these spirits. These spirits create Luma Life, so we can create some Luma Life here. We have created Luma Life. So you're going to input your Luma Life and your egg into the incubator. I don't have any more eggs right now, but you can see the ones that I had. There's the one for the snail, there's the turtle, and the Luma. And you can change what Luma you have with you. This little My Little Pony horse, I need to name her. She comes with me, and when I pet them or feed them every day, they give me these little orbs. I forget what they're called. Let's look right here. This is going to be Luma Energy. You're going to need this to craft certain things, so you're going to want to save them up. But the extras, the one that is not following you around, you can make these little Luma houses. I have mine housed in here, and then you can craft them right here. This is the small Luma nest. You can buy larger ones. I've been pretty poor, so I just have the one, but when I get more Luma, I'm going to build more. And then the other thing you have, they might be sleeping. Nope, they're not. We have rabbits and chickens. There's my chicken coop and my little rabbit hutch there. And I'm working on my little shed for my goats, but I have to go into another biome to get some more resources to finish this. So that's a work in progress. And then there are other animals too. But the farm animals, you can't pet them. I think you can feed them. I'm still trying to figure that out. But they will help around your farm. You might have seen in the other shot, there was a fox running around here. And I think the goats might help with the fox situation. I don't know how. I mean, I have goats in real life. They're not really protectors, but we're going to give it a whirl. But then we also have the rabbits. The rabbits are going to eat your weeds. The chickens are going to help with those beetles that you've probably seen in my garden. Actually, here's some right over here. I don't have any chickens out here, so I have beetles. But what I can do is grab my net and I will catch them. But the bunnies and chickens and goats, all of the farm animals, they will help you on your farm. The Luma, they don't help you on your farm. But what they will do is, as you go around and explore, they will alert you to when they find hidden treasure. It would be really nice if we could breed them, like in Fields of Mistria, if we could ride them. But it is nice that they'll dig up treasure for you. And what is also fun is when you beat a temple, you don't know which Luma egg you are going to get. And once you get the egg, you kind of know what it's going to be. You can see that. But it is random which egg you get. And from what I understand, there are around 15 different Luma that you can collect. So it's kind of a creature collector in some manner as well. And I love that. Number 7 is the simplicity of this game. They sell it as a life sim, but I would argue that it doesn't have a lot of the true life sim mechanics. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing. I just want you to be warned that if I go in here to my bed, here's my old bed, this is what you start out with, I can sleep if I want, but I don't have to. If I sleep right now, it will take us to the next morning. I will go ahead and do that for you. So the sleeping just advances to the next day. It doesn't give you any more energy because do you see an energy bar? No, there is no stamina, no energy. You can die, but you don't lose your stuff. If I go down in the mines, actually, I will show you. Let's go down in the mines right now and die, and I'll show you what happens. Let's just surround ourselves with darkness, and it just sends us right back up to the farm. So if you want a quick way out of the caves, just let yourself die. But you don't lose anything. And I really like how there is no penalty for just kind of standing here. This is the perfect game to let go idle. If you're studying, if you're working on other chores, this is just a great game to pick up and play for a little while. And if you happen to leave it running, no sweat. And another thing that makes it very low stress is you don't have to spam the button. So I'm going to chop this tree down. I'm just holding down my A button, or you can hold down your mouse. The 8th thing that I love about Luma Island is the endless inventory. Look at all this. You don't have to upgrade your pockets. They don't get full. It just keeps accumulating. It's a hoarder's paradise. And that is one thing I really do love about the game. You don't have to worry about time. You don't have to worry about energy and stamina. And you don't have to worry about running out of inventory space. There is one issue with the inventory that I think needs fixed, and I will explain that later. Number 9 is the value. Luma Island is right around $20 US. And from what I've researched, it's roughly 50 hours of gameplay. So if you divide that 20 bucks over 50 hours, that's what, around 40 cents an hour? Where else can you find entertainment for 40 cents an hour? And that's minimum. That is just completing the 4 different biomes. I am already about 20 hours in, and I don't even have 2 of the 4 biomes completed. This is our first one. I'll show you the forest one, and then there's a mountain and a jungle as well. And then if you try all the different professions, and maybe you're going to restart a character to play multiplayer with someone else, the hours can just skyrocket. It is such a good value, and it does work on Steam Deck. It is not verified on Steam Deck, at least yet, but I've played it on my Steam Deck and I had no issues. And it does have cloud save, so I can play on my computer and then pick up my game on my Steam Deck and vice versa. It's really nice. It's a great value. And my 10th favorite thing about Luma Island is its dash of spice. It's this benign looking cozy game, but then there are little monsters. We have ghosts, we have bats, there are traps in the temples, and then you have these weird Mario looking flowers like this. We're just gonna smack them with our whip, which we have upgraded, but I still need to upgrade it some more. It does add a bit of a challenge, and I like that. Now, one thing to note, if you don't like spiders, if you go into the start menu and options, and I believe it's in game. Yes, here it is. If you hate spiders, if you have arachnophobia, you can check this right here and it will turn the spiders in the caves into ghosts. So you're still gonna have monsters in there, but they won't be giant spiders. I really don't care. I'm fine with it. I may not like them, but I kind of like to have an organic experience. Now, I have talked about all the glowing aspects of Luma Island, but what about my dislikes? I do have a few, and I'm not hating on the game. I'm just trying to give you my honest dislikes. This is my wish list. Call it a wish list if you would like. But number one is going to be the map. And this is something I said in the demo, and it didn't get a whole lot better. If I pop open my map, that's my map on the top right. Nothing is labeled, and it's even more of an issue in town. Not so much here because fine, I'll explore, I don't mind. But in town, I would kind of like to know where the various shops are. And when I close the map, do you notice what's missing on my screen? I mean, there's a lot on my screen. I can't get rid of that quest on the top. That's another thing I wish they would add. But there is no compass. I don't know which way I'm going until I open the map and I see, hey, it looks like I am kind of aimed southwest. But it would be nice to have a permanent little mini map, mini compass, just something to help you acclimate yourself to the environment without popping open the map all the time. Number two is going to be some issues with the controller and the user interface. I like to play controller because I think it is cozier. And if you're not on controller, you might not have these issues. But the first one is, if you open your inventory, remember how I said there was something I think they need to fix about the inventory? Let's just say I want to put these flowers, these dandelions, I want to plant them. I need to move them onto my toolbar. There's an option on the bottom left to sort, but there is no way to quickly move these up to the toolbar. I have to go all the way up, and I want to put them right here. I wish there was this button to press to quickly move it up to your toolbar and vice versa. I'm hoping they'll add that because that would make my life so much easier. Secondly, it would be nice if we had separate binds for chop versus pick up, because look right here, we have chop forest bush and chop pine tree. I really want to pick these berries down here, and I have to kind of very delicately finagle my character so I can pick up the forest berry. And then we have cutting grass. There is just such a concentration of resources that it would just be nice if we could have some sort of differentiation between chopping and picking, have separate buttons. It would just make it a lot easier so it wasn't so difficult to aim to get to what you want. Like, I just want those berries, but no, it's telling me to chop the fern. My third dislike of Luma Island is the grind. And it's not really one that bothers me so much, but it's one that you're going to hear a lot of people talking about, and there's really no way around it. There are two things you can do to alleviate a lot of the issues with grinding for resources. Number one is going to be to upgrade your tools. And to upgrade the tools, you're going to want to come right here. And you can tell on these top two, they're iron. I'm on iron level 1. I don't know what comes after iron. Maybe bronze, gold. And then down here, these are on level 5. You know what? Let's go ahead and upgrade our whip to iron. We want the iron whip. It has increased damage, luck, and archaeology lives. So there we go. We have our upgraded whip. So upgrading your tools, and then the other thing you can do to help alleviate the grind is play in multiplayer. You have extra hands, getting all of the resources, using those on your farm. That is going to help a ton. So if grind is something that bothers you, upgrade your tools and play with other people. And then one other thing you can do to help with the grind is go to the shops because, for example, we have copper ore and iron ore. Now, it's not cheap. It's 600 for one iron ore. But if you have a lot of money, I've got 30,000 right now, but I'm saving that for animal pens. You can buy a lot of the resources. Look at all these. And this is just one shop. The different shops are going to be selling different things. This one's blueprints. This one is going to have some different items. So this is just another way. If you're a rich person in this game, you can pretty much buy anything you need, but it's going to cost you. Number 4 are the biomes. There are 4 biomes in Luma Island. You have your farm area. Here is the forest area. There's also a mountain and a jungle. I don't have those yet, but I do want to warn you that they are basically just reskinned versions of the other biomes. So when I'm on my farm, I have farm resources to harvest, but here I am in the forest. I'm going to hit this forest boulder. And if you look at my inventory here, I have farm stone blocks. We have forest stone. You're going to have forest planks, farm planks. You find the iron ore in the forest. You have the copper in your farm area. So every area you go to, you have new stone, new wood, and the various crafting recipes will call for different materials. I mean, they're just giving it a new skin, making it look different, and it is very pretty. Don't get me wrong, it's very pretty. But just know that, yeah, it's basically the same thing, but it looks a little different. Instead of the flowers on the farm, you have forest flowers, and so on. And number 5 are the NPCs. If you look around, you can see about 4 different NPCs. They're just kind of standing there. You can't have relationships with them. When you talk with them, they just kind of give you this canned dialogue. Luma Island doesn't claim to be a game where you can experience this rich story and get involved with the townspeople, and it's not. So as long as you know that and that doesn't bother you, then it's not going to be an issue. And one more thing about the characters. Currently, you can't edit your character, how you look, what you're wearing, after you select your character in the initial character creation tool. And I would guess this is coming in a future update, but just know that going in. If that matters to you, you might want to take a little bit of extra time making sure your character looks how you want. Whew. Sorry I was so long-winded, but I wholeheartedly enjoyed sharing my thoughts on the game. Luma Island's strengths are its cozy aesthetic, low-risk, relaxing gameplay, building your homestead, trying professions, and exploring its beautiful landscapes at your leisure to collect resources and solve puzzles alone or with friends. The fewer the people, the more of a grind it will be to progress though, so it's more suited to multiplayer or solo players who can appreciate the slow-paced experience and don't expect a life sim with stamina, sleeping, and eating, and who are content with surface-level NPC interactions. It also plays well on Steam Deck and has cloud save, so you can take your save file pretty much anywhere, even the bathroom. So I've heard. Unlike much of its competition, Luma Island is a full-release title with a complete experience, although it no doubt needs a few tweaks like a compass, friendlier controls, and mechanic balancing, which will likely arrive in future game patches. While more depth in story and NPC relationships could be added, I personally don't think the game needs it nor expect it to be added. There are plenty of games like Coral Island, Stardew, and Fields of Mistria that focus more on story and relationships than the exploration and professional development of Luma Island. I'm so glad I didn't listen to other reviewers who were saying that Luma Island is too grindy, because it nearly caused me to miss out on this fantastic little game. I've come to realize that I adore games that allow me to nest, and I have no problems grinding to customize my farm into a quaint cottagecore paradise. Although Luma Island may be too much of a repetitive, slow resource grind for some people, my advice is that if it even remotely interests you, try it for an hour and get a Steam refund if you end up disliking it. Overall, I rate Luma Island at a 4.6 out of 5. It's one of my top games of 2024, and I'm 100% pleased with this cozy $20 game for its art and exploration alone. The grind and somewhat shallow gameplay don't bother me one bit, and it turns into a whole new fun social medium when playing with friends in multiplayer. I hope my Luma Island review has been helpful to you. Let me know in the comments what you think about Luma Island. Consider subscribing if you don't want to miss out on the latest cute and mostly cozy games, and I thank you for watching.